Hey, what's up, everybody? My name's Steve. This is the Fandom Show. Got my nephew Paul with me again. This is actually the third time that I've tried to do this video tonight. The first two times went great, except that my microphone apparently decided not to record the audio, so that is not going to work at all. So first up, I wanted to apologize to you guys. I know I haven't put out any videos this month. There's unfortunately a very sad reason for that. My father passed away a few weeks ago, so I've been dealing with all the things related to that. And I just haven't had time to come in here and do videos like I'd like to, but I do have some fun stuff coming up in November and December into the holiday season, and I have been updating the Facebook page as regularly as I can, so if you haven't checked us out there yet, please do. Also, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do. We are at 200 and growing. Every little bit helps. So as far as today's video goes, oh, by the way, we're recording this on my brand new iPhone 16 Pro, so hopefully we're both coming through real clear to you right now.
Fancy.
And today we're talking about the economics of the movie/entertainment business, and this sort of comes from the fact that it's been well reported now that Joker 2 didn't do very good at the theater. Last reports were that it's made about $200 million, and it's not going to come anywhere close to making any kind of money. So in order for a movie to make money, basically it has to make double its budget to break even, and then any beyond that is profitability. So if you have a movie that costs $100 million to make, you got to make $200 million just to break even on it, and then you'd have to make even more than that to make money on it. So when you're talking about a movie's budget, what are you talking about? Well, there's a few different components, two main ones. Number one is the actual production costs. You got to pay for your actor salaries, you got to pay for your director, your crew, which includes, your lighting people, your sound guys, all that. The special effects houses that are going to be working on it. The lawyers and whatnot that are working for the studio, etc., etc. You even got to cover like the food budgets, location shooting budgets, filming permits. All of that is included in the production cost. The second component of a movie's budget is its marketing. You don't draw fans into a movie without marketing, and that's why you have to do TV ads and YouTube ads and print ads and ads on the side of buses and movie trailers and anything and everything. That all costs money, so it's all factored into a movie's budget. So I'm going to have Paul here. He has a list in front of him of movies from the past 5 years, and he's going to read you off some of the budgets for those movies. Just pick like 5 random ones and read them.
Alright, let's see. Endgame, $356 million. No Time to Die, $275 million range. Fast and Furious 9, $215 million range. Jurassic World Dominion.
Dominion. You're good.
$175 million range. Oppenheimer, $100 million. Barbie, $145 million.
Alright, so as you can see there, your average cost of a blockbuster is going to be at least $100 million and generally tracks between $100 million and $300 million. By the way, if you're wondering what movie had the highest budget of any movie in history, that honor goes to Star Wars The Force Awakens with an estimated budget of somewhere around $450 million. So if you remember what I just said about a movie having to make twice its budget in order to make money, The Force Awakens basically had to make about $1 billion before it started doing serious profits. Of course, It was the first Star Wars movie in 10 years. Disney knew it was going to make tons of money, and it made well over its production cost, as can be expected with most Star Wars movies. Interestingly, Star Wars Revenge of the Sith, back when it was made, only cost $113 million. That'd be $182 million in 2024 dollars. And here's another few movies from the past 30 years so we can see how their budgets compare. So Batman 1989 cost $48 million to make, which would be the equivalent to $122 million in 2024. Lord of the Rings Return of the King was $94 million back in 2003, which would cost $161 million in 2024. Batman: The Dark Knight was $185 million back in 2008, would cost $270 million today in 2024. The first Avengers movie cost $220 million to make, and that would be $300 million in today's money. And Disney's Moana cost $160 million to make, and that would be $210 million in today's money. So as you can see, the cost of a blockbuster has gone up somewhat, but not as drastically as you might think. Bottom line is, for the most part, your major movies are going to cost between $100 and $2 million with your carve-outs. I mean, Avengers movies are going to be more than that. Star Wars movies are going to be more than that. For the most part, I would say that an average budget for a blockbuster is somewhere around $200 and $250 million, which means it would have to make at least twice that to break even, which would be $500 million. So the bottom line is that most movies these days, most blockbuster movies that is, would have to earn somewhere between $600 million and $1 billion at the box office to turn a reasonable profit. Enough about movies, what about video games? Well, they can be expensive too. I'm going to have Paul read some games off this list. This is a bunch of games that were released over the past several years and their budgets.
Zelda Tears
of the Kingdom, yeah.
Was $125 million speculated. We don't know for sure.
Yeah, some game companies don't release their budget figures, not required to, like for movies, so some of these are guesstimates based on people who are in the know. Go ahead.
Elden Ring was $200 million. Last of Us 2, $220 million. God of War Ragnarok, $200 million. Final Fantasy
14,
$60 million. Tekken 8, or Tekken?
Yeah, Tekken, you got it.
Tekken 8 was $50 million?
Yeah, 50.
$50 million speculated.
My darn chicken scratch.
Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3.
Which was the one that came out last year.
Yeah. $300 million. Game only. Fortnite, $20 million in...
Yeah, so note about Fortnite.
Department.
Exactly, that's the initial development of Fortnite. So obviously in the time since it's come out, a ton more money has been spent on that. Video games are obviously a slightly different beast than movies because they have a longer span in which money can be made. They can also be augmented with things like downloadable content and all kinds of add-ons to make further money. Movies are typically a one-shot deal. It gets what it gets. So, again, you're talking about a major video game or a major movie, you're talking about big budgets, typically at least $100 million in most cases, and these are properties that need to make a lot of money to turn a profit, but it's big business and that's how it goes. But as you can see, the numbers have stayed pretty consistent, and going forward we're just going to probably see bigger and bigger blockbusters made, so we'll see where some of these numbers go. I don't doubt, probably about 10 years from now, that some film is going to break that record from The Force Awakens of the $446 million, so it'd be interesting to see what that's going to be. Maybe James Cameron's next movie. Maybe Avatar movies would be crazy expensive, but they make a ton of money too. But hey, that's enough talking about money for today, I think, because my brain's starting to melt from all the figures. So a few more things I wanted to talk about. I was thinking about The Mandalorian the other day because not typically, but the first two seasons, I think, launched in November of their respective years, and I started to wonder, well, when is Mandalorian Season 4 coming out? Apparently it's not. The rumor is that the movie that's going to be coming out with The Mandalorian that's set in that universe is going to be sort of the end of it, which I think makes sense. They wrapped up the story pretty good at the end of Season 3, so, I mean, of course, at Star Wars, there's other places you could take it, but, I don't really think a Season 4 is necessary. If they want to leave it the way it is, that is absolutely fine with me. Up next, there's an animated Lord of the Rings movie coming out next month. Executive produced by Peter Jackson. I mean, it's Peter Jackson, Lord of the Rings. You can't really go wrong. It's done in a kind of anime style, but it's not a Lord of the Rings anime so much as it is a Lord of the Rings story with a few anime flourishes, if you want to call it that. So it's much more Lord of the Rings than anime. It's nothing crazy. It's still, it's not like Gandalf shooting lasers out of his eyes or anything like that. It's traditional Lord of the Rings stuff, but it's done in an anime kind of animation style. I think it's actually going to be pretty good. I might not see it in the theaters, but I'll definitely check it out because I love Lord of the Rings, and why not?
The Hobbit one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And another story I came across the other day about John Wick. Apparently, the studio didn't want the dog to die. So they were like, okay, well, you can have it in the first part of the movie. Where, like, it seems like the dog is dead, and then the dog comes back later on in the movie. And Keanu Reeves was like, no, we're not doing that. The dog has to stay dead, or else this movie doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Fortunately, he prevailed, and we got the John Wick that we all know and love, but that's a really funny case of executive meddling there. I get that they don't, typically in Hollywood they don't harm children, they don't kill pets. Those are two big golden rules of a lot of movies, but sometimes you got to break the rules, right? John Wick was a revenge movie because he got pissed off that his dog was killed and just went to town on everybody. So without that, it just doesn't work. So kudos to Keanu for stepping up. Oh, you should. They're absolutely fantastic. Last thing is Call of Duty Black Ops 6 6? Is it 6 this year?
I believe so.
Sounds about right. Is out. Not going to play it. I don't play Call of Duty much anymore, but I believe with this release this year, it's been about 20 years now straight of annual releases in the Call of Duty series, or at least very close to it. I guess Activision is still making money off these, and they haven't beat it into the ground like Guitar Hero yet, but
Black Ops 2 is still the best.
I agree. That was probably that one, or Modern Warfare 2 that was part of the original series was a great game.
I never
as well.
played any of the Modern Warfares.
Oh wow, you should. The older ones, you should check those out. They were great.
I played
games,
Advanced Warfare.
Yeah, I don't know how much longer Activision's going to do the annual Call of Duty series, but I guess as long as it makes some money, they'll keep churning them out. Also, Nintendo Switch 2 speculated to be releasing next year sometime. The rumored preview design that I saw was similar to the current Nintendo Switch, only it incorporated a second screen. So it's sort of like a hybrid of the Switch / Nintendo DS again. Not confirmed to be the final design, but the Switch is definitely getting up there in age. It'll be either 8 or 9 years old next year, which is really pushing it for a video game console. So I'm very excited to see the Switch 2. One thing they have confirmed is that any games you've downloaded on your Switch will carry over to the Switch 2. So if you've got a bunch of stuff in there like I do, don't worry, you'll be able to keep it, and things will move on from there. Last thing from the evening, just something kind of silly and a little bit fun. I think I've showed this on my channel before. This is a Winning at Nintendo magazine. This was published in I think the late 1980s or early 1990s, but man, the graphic design in this is something else. I mean, just like really bright colors, and this is before we had a lot of the fancy fonts and stuff that we have today. And I'll tell you what, man, I'm gonna try to show you this close. Show you this up close. If you look at that screenshot there with Mario and with the purple sky, I don't know if it comes across on the camera, but it's kind of blurry looking, and that's just because that's how these were. I mean, you could take better screenshots at the time. Obviously, the people that made this magazine didn't have a whole ton of money. Look at this. I got these like bullet hole things in here and stuff. So, I mean, this was obviously just put out to make some money off of how super duper popular Nintendo was at the time. But I just had a fun time looking through this and seeing, how kind of these magazines were back then. They don't really have these anymore because it's all online now. By the way, 1990 was the year that was released. So just something fun to wrap us up tonight. So again, thank you guys for being patient with me while I dealt with some real world stuff. It's great to be back here doing videos again. We've got some more great stuff in the pipeline, and on that note, we're going to sign off with this. So thanks for watching, and we will catch you on the flip side.